Leaders, I got something to tell you. A resource is coming your way very soon called the Presentation Blueprint. This is a step-by-step guide. It's a plan to help you prepare with clarity and deliver with confidence. You will crush your next presentation because it will be organized, it will be clear, and it will be ready to deliver in a powerful way. Get ready for this product because it's coming soon. Welcome to the Speak with People podcast. My name is Jason Raitz. I'll be your host, and this podcast exists to help you improve your communication skills. Whether you communicate one-on-one, to a team, from a stage, or from behind a screen, we know that when we improve our communication skills as leaders, it exponentially changes everything. It improves our relationships, it improves our leadership skills, and it improves our business skills. So let's get ready to dive into this next episode. You ever been in a situation where you absolutely wanted to crush your next presentation? Maybe you've struggled putting together presentations or speeches. You've wrestled with, how do I get all my thoughts in a clear and organized way? How do I sum all of this down to one sentence? How do I present this in a way that people in the room will be interested? How do I overcome the fear of getting up in front of people? How do I overcome the nervousness that I have? How do I get over the demons inside of my head who are telling me that somebody else in the team should be doing this presentation? Well, let me tell you, we're doing a 4-week series starting today called the Presentation Blueprint. The Presentation Blueprint. When I was in high school, I started working with my dad and a general contractor, and we went out to job sites. And for the first time in my life, I saw the power of a blueprint. Until then, I had heard of it. I'd learned about them in school. But when I stood on a job site and somebody handed me the blueprint and said, hey, this is what we need to build. Here's the instructions. Everything just clicked. And this is the same way for your presentations. Many of you need a presentation blueprint. You need a structure. You need a formula. You need a plan to put together your presentations. Because honestly, some of us, we're given okay presentations. We can slap our ideas together. We can figure out what we're doing, and then we can present them. But, on a good, better, best scale, they're just good. Do you know that scale? I use that scale a lot. Good, better, best. And so if you want to give better and best presentations, better and best speeches, you need the right blueprint in order to do this. And some of you, having just that blueprint, it will help you get over the nerves, because I believe and I contend that so many of the nerves are caused from just poor organization, poor structure, poor preparation. And if you know the keys to a solid structure and blueprint for your presentation, it already takes away so many of the nerves. It already takes away so many of them, because you know exactly what you're going to say. Some of us, we prepare stuff and we grab ideas from here and we grab ideas from there, and then we just kind of slap it all together. Well, we can't do that anymore, because some of us, we want to get to that place where we're presenting in such a way that the room is captivated. How often has that happened to you? I can remember 1998. I know I'm dating myself here, but way back when, I stood in front of a room, and there's about 200 people in the room, and I started speaking, and things started clicking. It was like the flywheel effect, right? You know, big giant flywheel. You just got to get the thing going, and things started clicking, and the flywheel started going so well that I could tell halfway through the talk, wow, people are tracking with me. Like, they are following me. I have a AI webcam. And when I turn on the AI feature, if I move to the left or to the right, the camera will follow me. That's what the audience does. And it's going to take a successful, proven, strong blueprint for that to happen. And so if you are you're a professional leader, you have opportunities to stand up in front of a group and stand up in front of a room, whether it's your team, whether it's customers, whether it's potential customers, whoever the room is, you get to stand up in front of them and you get to present something, whether it be a sales presentation, whether it be a pitch for them to sign up for, your program, whether it's a new direction for your company, whether it's an update for your company, whether it's a training, whatever it is. If you have the right blueprint, I guarantee that that's already 50% of your success. Because with that blueprint will come the other 50% of your success. It will become the delivery success. Because when you prepare with clarity, when you are organized and you're able to put all your thoughts together, you'll be able to deliver them in an impactful and captivating way. Because there is just something amazing about standing in a room when you're on stage and you start to deliver and people lean in to be able to hear what you're going to talk about next. There's just nothing like it. And by the end of your presentation, when you get to the call to action, when you get to the challenge, when you get to call them to something greater, you get to call them to make a decision, you get to call them to go with you on something or to agree, and they do, look out. You just experience success as a public speaker, and it's incredibly powerful. And so that's why we're doing this 4-week series called the Presentation Blueprint. And we've got something for you. If you go to speakwithpeople.com/the presentation blueprint, there is an opportunity for you to download step 2 for free of the presentation blueprint. Okay. Step 2 for free. There's 6 steps. It's a 6-step plan in the presentation blueprint. And we want to give you step 2. And we're giving you step 2 because step 2 is the most important part of the blueprint presentation. So we want to give that to you for free. And so I hope that you'll go speakwithpeople.com/the presentation blueprint. Press the download button. Yes, we're going to ask for your email. Go ahead. Come on. Sign up for our email list. You'll get a weekly email from us. We call it our communication guide. There's tips, but you'll be able to have step 2. Now, later in the series, I'm going to announce when we're actually launching the full template. You'll be able to buy it on our Speak with People store. But right now, we want you to be able to have that. And coming later in the month, we're going to do an absolutely free webinar where we're going to walk through this and you're going to be able to learn. So these are some exciting things coming. But we're going to walk through this in 4 steps, 4 weeks. And we're going to walk through each of the steps for the series because we want you to be able to succeed. We want you to be able to succeed like my friend Joy. Joy's an amazing leader. She's worked for her company for 15 years. Joy's the kind of person who is the behind-the-scenes leader, organizational, strong, communicates with everybody. When new people onboard onto the company, HR tells her, hey, at some point you got to meet Joy because you need a strong advocate. Joy knows where the bodies are buried. Like Joy gets it done. When she's given a project, she goes at it. She always under promises, over delivers. That's just the kind of person Joy is. High trust. Her supervisor loves having her on her team. One day they're in a one-on-one. Her supervisor says, Joy, I got an announcement for you. I've got something major. You know that in 2 months, the national sales meeting is coming up, and we've got to pick a presentation speaker because we haven't done it yet. And Joy knows this. She's been going to the conference for 15 years. She runs all the details on it. She does all the plans. She makes sure everything happens for the sales meeting. Well, her supervisor threw her for a loop this day and said, Joy, you are the leader that I've selected to present at this year's sales conference. And Joy lost it. Now, she didn't say one word out of her mouth, but her entire body language, her face, her eyes, everything was screaming, there ain't no way I'm doing this. Her supervisor could see this. You know why? Because 7% of our communication is words, right? 35%, 38% is our tone, and then 55% is our body language. And so we can communicate a ton without even saying a word. And Joy's body was saying, there ain't no way. It's not happening. I'm not doing it. Finally, her supervisor asked, Joy, are you okay? Like, are you excited about this? And Joy said, no, honestly, I'm not. We've had this conversation before. I've asked you, I've begged you, I've pleaded with you. I am not interested in doing this presentation. That's not my gifts. My gifts are behind the scenes. I've already started organizing everything, already starting putting together a plan. Now, what Joy didn't realize that her supervisor knew, and if you've led staff, you know this before. Part of your job as a leader is to look for ways to help them grow their leadership, increase their influence, increase their responsibilities, help them, raise up other leaders around them and push them out of the nest, right? I've been able to do this so many times over the years. It is so incredibly fun when you finally get to a place where you walk up to one of your employees, people that you've been leading, and you say, hey, it's your time. It's your time. And for Joy, it was her time. She knew everything. She had all the information. She was going to crush it, but the internal demons were telling her, the little voices, Vanessa Van Edwards calls them the gremlins, were telling her, there's no way you can succeed, Joy. You're not going to make it happen. And so Joy pleaded with her supervisor. I can't do this. This person's better. This person's better. This person's better. And her supervisor said, Joy, there's no discussion. This is something I need you to do. You have 2 months to prepare. Okay? I'm here to help. Whatever you need to do, I'll help you. So Joy left the office. She was angry. She left early that day. She closed up her computer, walked out of the office before other people had left. People are looking around like, what's going on? Joy is that first in, last out type of person. She gets in her car and she gets on the phone and calls her husband, and she's just fuming. And her husband listens, and then she finally gets home and she makes dinner for the family, and her husband and her cleaning up dishes, and she then does the kid routine, and then she finally sits back down to open up her laptop, and she's just fuming about this. And so finally, she goes to bed, and it's about 11 o'clock, and she just can't sleep. I mean, she's already so nervous. She's already so upset that she was up till 3 a.m. And she got her laptop open, and she's trying to figure out what she's going to do, and she doesn't know how to put it all together. Comes in the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And so finally, a week later, they're in their weekly one-on-one. Joy's supervisor said to her, okay, how's it coming? How's it coming? And again, supervisor knew right away from Joy's body language, this was not a great question to ask. And Joy just started to unload on the supervisor and just said, I can't believe you're asking me to do this. I haven't slept all week. My stomach is just in knots. I'm not eating. And the supervisor said, Joy, you can do this. Just approach it like every other of the 100 million projects I've given you over the last 15 years. You can do this. Joy left. Another week goes by. Finally, a month goes by. Joy has like 19 things on an open document. None of them are congruent. She doesn't really know how to put them all together. Somebody asked her, oh my goodness, Joy, you're speaking at the National Sales Conference. What are you talking about? And Joy starts saying this and that and this. There's no cohesion to it. She's just sweating every single time. So finally she goes in, and it's 2 weeks before. So she's meeting in a one-on-one with her supervisor 2 weeks before the thing. And she's lost weight. She's frustrated. She's got nothing. I mean, she's got ideas, mishmashed all together. And so she has a meeting with her supervisor. Her supervisor says, you got this. She goes home. Finally, at about 2 a.m. that night, she opens her laptop back up because she just can't sleep. And this is crazy because this is what public speaking can do to us as leaders. When we know we have to get up in front of people. Like this is the crazy kind of stuff. So finally, it's late. She emails her supervisor and she goes, I don't know what to do. I got nothing for this. And the next day in the office, her supervisor says, have I ever forwarded you the presentation blueprint? And Joy says, no, I have not heard about the presentation blueprint. And so Joy gets it forwarded to her. She spends all day working on a million projects. Finally, she goes home, does the nighttime routine, gets the kids in bed. 10 o'clock, sits in her bed, opens up her laptop, and she opens up the presentation blueprint, and she just unleashes string after string of the most carefully crafted profanities. And her husband's like, what is wrong with you? And Joy is like, not now. She puts in her AirPods and she starts going through the presentation blueprint. And it's just things are falling into place. Things are falling into place. And by 3 a.m., her presentation is done. Like done. She's taken all her research, taken everything. She organized it, put in the presentation blueprint. Boom. Now she's got a step-by-step plan. This is crazy. And this is why we want to present this to you. A couple weeks ago, I'm in Cleveland, and I'm presenting to a group of financial advisors, wealth managers, some licensed bankers. And the person who booked me gets up, and they're introducing a new product. They're introducing me. They're introducing some of the things that are coming up for the company. And I could tell they just wanted to kill it when it came to their communication skills. They wanted to be charismatic. They wanted to control the room. They wanted people to laugh, but then people also to take notes and be serious and lean. They wanted it all, but none of it was happening. It was like every single word they said put up just a little bit more of a wall in between them and the group. And by the time they got done, and they did the absolute best they could. They introduced me. I came up. I launch into my presentation, which is all about healthy communication skills. How when you continually improve your communication skills, your one-on-one interpersonal skills, your, well-rounded skills, one-on-one team communication skills, presenting skills, public speaking skills. When you do that, you will build trust with your clients. You'll deepen your relationships to a place where you'll just have massive amounts of success in your business. I mean, it's just crazy. So I'm like launching into it. And afterwards they came up to me and they said, I just wish I could be as natural as you are up in front of people. And I was like, listen, it's a 6-step process. Every time I stand up in front of people, and I'm not the hero of this. For years, I got this wrong. For years, my thoughts were everywhere and my stories didn't connect and my call to action wasn't strong. I failed so many times. And I know when I'm failing now because I start to sweat profusely. When I'm relaxed, when I know my material, when I'm comfortable, I just get up and I present because I know it. It's ingrained inside of me. Because for 25 years, I've been working on the presentation blueprint. I've studied every structure out there. There's a million amazing structures. When you take speech communication classes, you get a master's in communication, you get presentation, you're going to learn from some of the most academic presentation speech givers. And this is just what I've learned over a lifetime, 500 plus paid speaking events, maybe more, I don't know, standing up in front of audiences of all ages, all ranges, all sizes. And this is just what I've learned. Time after time after time after time, reading, developing, talking to leaders. And so now we're presenting to you the presentation blueprint. And the exciting thing is you can download step 2 from it, which is one of the most important steps, for free. You can attend the free webinar at the end of the month. And I'm going to give you specific details about that at the end of the episode and in future episodes. And then you can, if you want to, we're going to unleash a Memorial Day sale and you can buy the template. I mean, you can have this entire template that you want. And then you can also buy a course that goes along with it so you can kind of keep growing. And so this is it. This is what we want to be able to do during this series so you can absolutely learn everything that you need to about this project. And so the reality is that 90% of how well the talk, the speech, the presentation will go is determined before the speaker steps on the platform. Summers White said that. Brilliant leader, brilliant communication expert. Another brilliant leader, Guy Kawasaki. I love his podcast, Remarkable People. If you've never listened to it, look it up. He interviews some of the most amazing people. He is now part of Canva. He kind of got his claim to fame because he was what he calls the first evangelist for a company called Apple. And so he worked for Apple a few times. He says simple and to the point is always the best way to get your point across. That's what this is all about. And Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So the presentation blueprint is 6 steps. It is 6 steps that absolutely helps you succeed. It's a proven plan to help you bring the absolute best part of your presentation and be able to just absolutely win with it. And so that's what we want you to be able to do. Okay, so today we're going to jump into step 1 of this plan. Step 1. And so over the course of this series, we're going to go through all 6 of them. And so we're going to go to step 1. And step 1, this is the easiest, most simplest part of the plan. But here's what I've figured out. When you are someone who is trying to put tons of information together, sometimes it's always easy to go back to the basics. Always easy to go back to the basics and start with the simple things and make sure those things are in place. And so the first part, when you get the presentation blueprint template, the first part is actually just a box where it gets all of the event details and you get organized. There is something awesome about organization. And I say that kind of tongue in cheek because On the Enneagram, I'm a 4, and so I'm a feeler, so I'm up and down. I love creative things. If you walked into my office, it's much different in the background than if you're watching this podcast. My office is just covered with pictures. I got one wall that's my Hootie and the Blowfish wall. I got one wall that's my baseball wall. I got one wall that's just my fun poster wall. One wall that's all kid stuff. I love to be inspired. I love it. If you were in my bedroom early mornings, you'd probably watch me watching a reel of somebody on America's Got Talent, singing their song, all that kind of stuff. So the first step is just to get the thing organized, get the things in place. And so the first box actually is just the project or the event name. And so for Joy, she wrote in there National Sales Conference. And so you put what it is in there. And here's why you do it, because over time, now that I've been communicating publicly for 28, 29 years, I've got hundreds of these talks. And so now with Google Drive, with Microsoft, however Dropbox, however you organize all of your stuff on the cloud, I don't even know if we still say the cloud, but however you organize all your stuff that way, if you do it this way, you can always search for this stuff years later, because I guarantee you'll want to search for it at some point, and you'll want to bring it back up. So you put in the event name. The second one is the date and time. So you put the date and time of the speech or presentation. Then it's a personal goal. And I try to write this out for every time that I talk. What are 2 or 3 sentences that you hope this speech or presentation accomplishes? Be specific and clear. And so whether it's, I hope that this shows my supervisor that I'm ready for more responsibility. I hope that, I cut out the ums in this presentation. I need to sell, 73 widgets, whatever it is. Put those goals. Then the corporate goal. What is your company goal for this presentation? Again, 2 to 3 sentences that the person who was responsible for asking you to communicate, in their eyes, what would be successful? And so that's always a giant question to ask. If you're a speaker, if you're going to be speaking more, if you want to speak and you finally get booked to speak, always ask the event manager or the person who booked you, at the end of this, how will I know that this was a successful talk? What are you looking for? Then the next box is just the time. What time should you arrive? How much time do you have for this? Listen, time is so incredibly important. And one of the best things you can do is not stay over your time, right? You don't want to be that guest who comes over for a dinner and just keep staying and staying and staying, and you finally have to get kicked out. You want to know what that time is. The next box then is a question called, what's the room like? And so I want to describe the room. I want to know, okay, I'm speaking in a conference room. Okay, I'm speaking 2 weeks ago, right? I'm in a Top Golf conference center in Cleveland, Ohio. And so Top Golf's happening right outside the conference center, and we're in a conference room. And we're going through everything, and then we walked outside. And then the night before, I was at the Disney Swan Hotel, which was a massive ballroom. I want to know what kind of room I'm in. And then the last question is, can you use a slide deck? Will it be on a TV? Will it be on a screen? Will it be on everybody's screen? Is it a Zoom presentation? How is it? You've got to be able to go. So this first step, right? The first step, it is so incredibly easy. It's so incredibly easy. But what I recommend is when you eventually get the presentation blueprint template, you'll get access to a download. It's just a Google Drive folder. And then you'll get the document. And then you can cut and paste these things and put them in your actual presentation. I do every presentation in a Google Doc. They all are organized in a certain way. And when you get the course, if you buy the course at the end of the month, you can actually see then how I organize all of my talks and keep them kind of all together so they don't get all over the place and you don't know. Maybe you have a great organization system, maybe you don't. Then I just start filling out all the information. I don't skip any of this, and I think it through, and I put it all in there. That's the first step. That is the absolute first step. Let me take you back before I let you go. So Joy comes into work the next day, right? This is 2 weeks before the presentation. This is just the day before her boss, her supervisor, gave her the presentation blueprint. And Joy comes in for the one-on-one, and she's beaming. She has not slept in weeks. It's like she was a contestant on Survivor, and she was eating, the fruits and the leaves from the trees nearby. And she's just glowing, right? I mean, she's just like, and her supervisor was like, okay, well, bring me up to date. What's going on? And she goes, I got it done. And she says to him, it says to them, why did you not share the presentation blueprint with me sooner? And they're like, I thought I did. I'm sorry. And they just had a laugh about it. And then they were able to talk through her presentation. They made some tweaks to it. But what the presentation blueprint ultimately does is it takes all of your big ideas, all of the things that you're thinking about, and it works as a funnel, and it just funnels them all down to the absolute gold idea that you need to communicate. I think about it like a prospector, right? Back in the day, when people are going out west to blow up the mountains to find gold, and the prospector's digging. He's finally at a stream, and he's got that little pan, and he's got dirt in there, and he's got water, and he's shuffling it. And then at the very, very end, then there's that one little gold nugget that just appears. Boom! That's the power of the presentation blueprint. To give you a structure that's proven, that's successful, that will help you prepare with clarity and deliver with confidence. Okay, I need you to do two things. If you go to speakwithpeople.com/the presentation blueprint right now, you can download step 2 for free. I'm telling you, this is the best part of the entire template. You need all 6 steps, but the second step is going to help you massively for the next episode of the podcast, because we're going to go through the second step of the plan, and you need this. Also, on the speakwithpeople.com/presentation blueprint, you can sign up for the free webinar that's happening on Thursday, May 23rd at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'd love for you to be a part. We're going to walk through this. My hope is you'll be able to walk through and be able to get the skills and the plans that you need to absolutely succeed in your next presentation. I'm not going to tell you what happened with Joy, okay? You got to come back for the next episode, episode 2 of this series, The Presentation Blueprint, because I can't wait to tell you what happened with Joy. Till then, I'll see you in the next episode. Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Speak with People podcast. We hope that you were encouraged. We hope that you were inspired and challenged to improve your communication skills. I want to thank you again for being a part of the Speak with People podcast community. Make sure you don't miss out on being a part of the Speak with People Facebook community group. Just head to Facebook, type in Speak with People, scroll down and join our community, because every single day we're encouraging each other, we're helping each other to improve our communication skills. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.